Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this edition of Politics NY. Meet the candidates in 2022. I'm Jane Hansen, and I ask 3 questions in 3 minutes. And today, my guest is Charles Lavine, who has represented the Assembly District 13 since 2005. So he's been going back and forth to Albany and not. The district is Glen Cove, Jericho, Woodbury, Westbury, parts of Roslyn, a very diverse part of Long Island, many other small communities as well. Welcome, thanks for joining us today. And I guess my first question is, everybody's talking about Roe v. Wade and the overturning of it by the Supreme Court. Tell us about what you intend to do about it in Albany.
I am the author of the Geraldine Santoro Sanctuary Act. And what this act says, well, actually what this bill says, because it's not an act until it's enacted, but I'm confident it will be. It's composed of 2 separate components. First, New York is not going to cooperate with any of the anti-abortion states if they try to prosecute anybody in New York. We're not going to do that. Now, that's already enacted in another bill that I sponsored that's been signed into law by Governor Hochul. But in addition, the Santoro Act, and of course, Geraldine Santoro, many people don't know that name anymore, died as a result of an illegal abortion back in the early 60s, and stimulated thought about what we must do to protect women in the state of New York and in the United States. So the bill also provides for a source of funding, a way for the state of New York to form a not-for-profit corporation that will raise money to help transport and protect women from these backward states to New York so they can get the attention that they need and then take care of them here and get them back home. So that's what we are doing. There are many bills that are pending. This has caused a lot of stimulation of thought about what we do to protect human rights. Never before in our history, never before in American history has a Supreme Court dared to steal a right, a fundamental right from Americans. And that's a right that belongs to all of us, not women alone. And American rights belong to each and every one of us. And we are going to fight in New York to make sure that the future is secure for everyone in New York and throughout the United States.
Let's talk quickly then about dealing with the subject of mental health, which is also hampering our abilities to be free.
The current budget has provided for, the current state budget has provided for additional spending to try to make sure that we can begin to approach the mental health crisis in New York and throughout the United States, which has been exacerbated by the COVID pandemic.
It sure has.
We will continue to spend the money that's needed. And to their credit, the federal government has decided now, as part of a package to address weapons violence in this country, to spend more on public health and mental health. And we will continue to do that in the state of New York.
One final question, one quick thing about, in all these 17 years, about you that we may not know.
Well, I actually grew up in the Midwest. I grew up about as far from Buffalo as Long Island is from Buffalo, and lived in small towns and lived in rural areas, and also spent a lot of my growing up in the city of Chicago, initially in the tenements on the south side of Chicago. So I am one of the few people who has the ability to understand or appreciate what many of our citizens in more remote and rural parts of the state confront on a daily basis. I don't think anyone else has had that experience. I am, to my great credit, one of the few members of any legislature who knows how to milk a cow.
Well, guess what? I'm from Minnesota, so do I.
I should have known.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm Jane Hansen signing off, and I'll see you all next time.